I'm sure many of you have already seen this news, but if you haven't, Blackmagic Design unveiled the Ursa Mini Pro. And this is really cool because the Ursa Mini, I love the camera. I rented it extensively, and then we ended up buying one for work just because we were using it so much. Love the camera. Did have a slight little problem with it overheating, I think, so I've sent that to Blackmagic. It's currently getting repaired. They're going to send it back to me, but that's a whole separate thing. I've got other video content about that. I want to talk about the Ursa Mini Pro and why I think this camera is awesome. I love the Ursa Mini, but in the reviews and the kind of the overviews that I've done on the camera, I mentioned a few important flaws or my criticisms that I have with the camera. I got a lot of flack for this from some of the people in the comments, basically saying like, why are you complaining about this? Just be grateful for what you have. But I think that you should be able to call out everything amazing with a camera, and then if there's any room for improvement or things that you would do differently, you should be able to call that out too, and that's what I did. And there are two main areas of criticism that I have and I had for the Ursa Mini, and that is the fact that there's no built-in NDs and that the interface for it, controlling everything on the touchscreen, it works, but it's not the fastest, most easy way to control a camera. So those are my two main criticisms. People are saying, you don't even need these features. Well, apparently you do. Apparently these are the Pro features that they've now included on the Ursa Mini Pro, because the Ursa Mini Pro has built-in NDs and external controls. You know, physical buttons, things that you would actually want to interact with. There's an external display and stuff. And the only other really big feature that I think is that the Ursa Mini Pro also allows you to record to SD cards. So there's two SD card slots and two CFast card slots. CFast is a little bit expensive in terms of a media format, so SD cards tend to be a little bit cheaper per gig, but if you want the really high-end SD cards, they're still kind of expensive too. So media in general, you know, it's always coming down, but then it goes back up in price as specs change and cards get faster. So I never really had a problem that it was CFast. Yes, CFast is a little bit expensive, but there are some workarounds where you can get CFast to SSD adapters. So there are workarounds if you really want. But if you're investing in a camera like this, the amount that the camera costs plus all the accessories, the media cards is just another component of that kind of inflated price for paying for a higher end camera, higher caliber camera. So the SD cards, it's cool. I'll take it. I'm not going to say that I don't want that feature. And then we've also got swappable mounts. And I don't know how important this will be for a lot of shooters out there. Me, myself, I can't really imagine wanting to switch my lens mount all that often or all that frequently. But I could certainly see for some individuals that it would make sense if you have EF glass, you know, Canon glass that you shoot with all the time. That's your personal stuff. And then you want to shoot with PL glass. If you rent it from time to time, I get that you might want the swappable mounts. Me, I'm fine with the, you know, Canon basic photography glass most of the time. And then you can always rent the higher end cinema EOS EF mount lenses if you want that kind of cinema lens look. Not ideal that you're stuck with an EF mount, so I love that Blackmagic is giving options. That's what it's all about. Anytime I criticize a camera or a piece of gear or a piece of software, it's usually because they're limiting the options. And now that they've introduced all these options, and it is more expensive for the Ursa Mini Pro, so don't get me wrong, it's $1,000 more expensive, but I think considering the stuff that they've added, it is worth it for the built-in NDs and the external controls. The external controls is not the biggest one, but the built-in NDs is huge because now you can actually use the Ursa Mini in a more run-and-gun type setting. And a lot of people will say that that's not Pro, but this is the Ursa Mini Pro, so the name just, you're wrong. The name says that you're wrong. I'm just messing around. No, I think it's cool that they've put this stuff in there. And if you don't want the NDs, you know, you can turn them off if you want. I think there is still going to be a piece of glass in there, but Blackmagic has said that it's, you know, high end, super treated, you know, NDs, that they're amazing, so that they're high quality. I don't know personally myself, haven't tested the camera, haven't played with it, but from what I have used on other cameras, most of the high-end Pro cameras that have built-in NDs are certainly good. And it's just nice to be, you know, when you're out there and you're filming and you want to go from indoor to outdoor, being able to flip that ND on is a huge advantage without having to screw some external filter on and having them built right in. Hopefully that they're the high quality that Blackmagic says they are. You don't have to worry about investing in really expensive NDs. You know, otherwise maybe you're going with something cheaper that's more affordable and lower quality. So this eliminates all of that. And then the external control should hopefully make the camera, in terms of interacting with it in a kind of, again, run and gun scenario, a little bit easier. The Ursa Mini as is, the current version, if you want to change something on the fly, it's not the fastest. You know, if you're shooting on your shoulder with the EVF, which I often do for B-roll, documentary stuff, testimonial stuff, explainer videos. There's all sorts of videos that we produce with the Ursa Mini, and it is an awesome camera. Dynamic range is fantastic. I love the resolution. I love all the codec options, and the menu and the interface is fantastic. But just having those external controls as that, again, more options, more flexibility, being able to do things the way you want to do them. Because maybe, you know, I don't like the menus, but I like the buttons. Maybe you don't like the buttons, you like the menus. Well, hey, now at least we have options. So I think if you're looking at something like an Ursa Mini, getting the Pro definitely makes a lot of sense. It's only $1,000 more. And while that is $1,000, so that's, you know, I'm not going to say that that's not nothing in the total scheme of buying the camera package, plus all the accessories, plus media, plus case. You know, $1,000 is a small additional investment for the NDs, the external controls, the additional media card formats, the hot swappable mounts. I think there's a few other, you know, perks that they've added to it, but those were the standouts from my perspective. So do I regret that we bought the Ursa Mini? No, because I think if you're going to buy a camera, you should buy the camera that you need at the time you need it, and know that right around the corner there could be something that's amazing. You know, just it could be a week later, it could be a month later. It could come fast. So whatever you're going to buy now, make sure that you're actually buying that for what you need and what you want. And you're not going to have that buyer's remorse. If you're just buying something because it's cool and it looks fun and you think it's going to be awesome, well, chances are 6 months from now, something else is going to come out that's more awesome. So you might have a little bit of that buyer's remorse. I've made another video talking about that, but that's kind of my philosophy. It's like buy what you need, use it for what you need, make sure that you're going to be able to make money back off of your investment, because everything, you know, most of the gear that we buy is an investment in ourselves and our craft and our work. It should be able to make you money back. So having the Ursa Mini to the Pro, I do think it's worth the upgrade if you're considering either or. Do you save $1,000 or do you spend the extra $1,000? I say spend the extra $1,000, get the Pro, and then have those extra features, because they're just, again, they're more options. It's going to come in handy at some point. You may not need built-in NDs all the time, but just knowing that they're there in case you do is really nice. Extra peace of mind when you're shooting, so you don't have to, oh, you're in a situation now, you don't have the built-in NDs, you lost the ND filter set that you had, and now what are you going to do? Having it built right in, that's perfect. External controls, awesome. More memory card options, great. And then you even have the option to swap them out if you want. Overall, that seems worth the upgrade to me.